think mental health is like, people are definitely talking about it more, which is good. There's a lot more awareness. I think that like the focus on mental health is not where it should be as much right now. Especially with like a lot of like young boys and like broken families and things like that. I think that's where a lot of issues come from with people coming from bad homes. Because I think depression and victims of rape and that kind of stuff is like something that people discuss a lot, and there's a lot of support on campus. But just like general mental health from family background and that kind of thing, I think makes a big difference, because a lot of people who come from like broken homes and divorce being common, and single parents being more common than before, I think is something that should be talked about more, especially with like my experience. A lot of guys and girls who come with like parental issues and things like that. That's where most of their problems come from. But I think otherwise we're going in the right direction with focusing on that kind of stuff.
On mental health, I feel like in at least American society, it's not really like touched upon a lot. Like, I mean, now there's a big movement of like, take care of yourself, get help if you need help. But like before, like with the older generation, people who run the country, actually like they don't really give like enough emphasis on it, because that leads into a lot of the problems we have today with like the mistreatment in prisons and stuff. Like, we have people who aren't mentally there committing crimes and stuff when they should be getting help. People kill themselves, people drop out of school and stuff, less productivity, because people just can't handle certain things. They need to get help, and we need to give more access to help.
I think that right now there's a pretty good dialogue about mental health, especially through like social media and stuff. Like, obviously social media can be bad for your mental health, but I think that there's also a really positive side of how people can like share their stories with one another about like overcoming struggles like that.
Oh, I think everyone's sad nowadays.
I agree.
Yeah, that's not a hidden thing.
Yeah, I think it can be especially hard like when you first get to a new place and you just feel isolated, but it's definitely a big problem that there shouldn't be a stigma about.
Yeah, Twitter's like the safe haven for all the sad boys now. Everyone's sad. Everyone's got baggage. Everything's got someone going on. Everyone's got something going on. That's what I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
For me personally, I'm chilling. I collect records, so like that's how I do it. Oh, what's up? But yeah, mental health is a problem, but UConn's got resources. So I mean, I think people are really comfortable here.
I think we're at a point in time where we're starting to deal with it very well, and it's something that comes up in conversation a lot here. Like, we even have services that kind of cater to like mental health and therapy and stuff like that. That's coming from my female, but that's okay. But I mean, yeah, just being open with your friends if you're struggling with something, not being hesitant or not feeling embarrassed or anything like that.
I think the way we deal with it in this country is we like to drug ourselves out. We don't want to be part of it, and I think we've gotten to a point where people rely so heavily on, this mentality that I'm either sad or depressed, and I think people just choose to detach. And I think we as a mental health system in the United States now just kind of give way to like drugs. I mean, if you look at the opioid crisis in of itself, that's a problem that's been created by Big Pharma and all of these other institutions. Have just perpetuated it down the cycle because people just don't want to deal with their problems. And I think if people just kind of stood up, acknowledged that they have these vices that they need to deal with, they'd be better for it.
I think we've definitely been making progress in terms of mental health and spreading awareness about it. I think there's a difficulty still in trying to understand, I guess, how to sympathize. Like, I feel like even though they're bringing more awareness, like people, they'll hear about it, but it doesn't really like connect, I guess. And so when they see people with like mental disabilities or something, they still don't really have like a fully like empathetic reaction, I guess. So I think like it's good that we're discussing mental health, we're like bringing it up and we're talking about it, and like the way that it can affect students in school especially. But I think we're still on an uphill trend. So I'm just waiting for like, the peak when it finally breaks through. But I think we're definitely making progress on it.
I think mental health is just important. Like, it's the one thing that is not flows to race. Like every race experiences it, every kind of person experiences it, and that's the one thing that we have unifying. So why not try to educate yourself on that and trying to understand the different type of disorders and personality disorders that a person can have and might have. And so yeah.
Well, I'm a psych student, so I study that all day. Here at UConn, it's pretty good. We have a clinical mental health counselor, and they have private appointments, so they provide that kind of like mental counseling for you. But overall, I think that it's not talked about a lot just because there's a lot of like, not shame, but it's kind of generalized. So they're like, oh, you're depressed, that means you're really sad. And a lot of people don't take it seriously. And it's a serious thing. People take meds for it, and it should be normalized in the sense that it's okay that you're not doing okay in one sense, but you're gonna get better. Always being there for the person is a really important thing. And that's something that I don't think a lot of people realize.
Well, personally speaking, I think the society is trying its best, or like giving its best effort, especially with the schools and everything, to pay attention to these issues. But I think it ultimately comes down to like individuals. That's when it comes down to. Like, you always have people with like prejudice and stuff like that, and that's something it's hard to fix, but it's something that we should definitely like keep on working towards. But I think as society, as a whole, we already made great progress towards this specific issue.
I mean, I think we're getting better as a society. Like, for example, somebody in my speech class yesterday just made a speech about their own like borderline personality disorder and everything, and you know, it was cool. You know, it was well received. It was fine. People were fine with hearing it, and I think that's a good place to be. You know, people are willing to listen, talk about it. I think that's productive.
I mean, I would definitely like, don't hide it. Definitely like, if you ever need help, like always bring it out. Like, there's always people there to support you, even though you don't think so. I would just say like, start the conversation.
I think it's evolving. I think people are becoming more open to even talking about it, because it used to be an uncomfortable topic. And I think that, I don't know, now that like more information is coming out about it, people are more open to share experiences if they're comfortable with it, or just even to help others with their problems. Yeah, and no one that I've spoken to has like had a judgmental approach to it. They just always seem really open to listening, especially like people listen now, which is very important. Not just like, okay, you're done talking, now let me talk. Kind of like actively listening, if that makes sense. But yeah, and I think that's really important now that we're all like, because the more you talk about things, the better it can come to understand, and you get to hear other people's point of view. So it's not just your opinion that you're going off of. Like, you heard other people, and maybe you may change your opinion based off of it.
I think conversations around mental health are becoming more prevalent now, which is great because it's very important. I think there's various levels of mental health and how it affects all individuals. And quite personally, the way that I like to think about it is like, I think it is something that I value. And so for me, like, a way that I like to take care of it and be mindful of my mental health is like exercise. I see that as like a release of like stress and like taking care of my mental health and well-being.
Honestly, like my family wise, I have a lot of support with my mom and my dad and like everyone around me. They're very supportive. But like, I never really had a problem with like my mental health, because like the way my dad raised me, it's like he always supported me through like certain things. So it's like I know how to deal with like stress and like anxiety and stuff. Like, I don't really get nervous because I believe in myself, and I know myself to be able to handle the situation no matter what it is. But like, everyone goes through like their ups and downs. I get sad sometimes, but it's like I don't dwell on it, and I don't like think like bad thoughts on it. I'm like, yo, I'm sad right now. It's like that sometimes, but as a person, I'll get over it, because there's always gonna be ups in my life, there's gonna be downs in my life. Yeah.
Me personally, I haven't really ever had to battle those sort of things, but you know, it's nice to know as somebody to try and help somebody who's dealing with it. You know, I've had friends deal with it, so yeah, I think it's important to address.
Even if you feel like you're really alone, it's really not that way, and there's always people that would care about your existence, even if it doesn't feel like it.